More bad news for House Minority Leader Nancy Pelosi. A new Rasmussen poll reports, taken after Democrats lost 4 special elections, it found that 58% of likely Democratic voters say their party needs new leadership. Meantime, across the aisle, 45% of likely Republican voters say change is needed at the top. Who's here to weigh in but Mr. Eric Bolling, co-host of the Fox News Specialist, author of the new book, The Swamp, Washington's Murky Pool of Corruption and Cronyism and How Trump Can Drain It. What do you make of those numbers? Well, Pelosi's still there because she raises money.
They're losing everything. The Democrats haven't won anything in I don't know how many election cycles. Under Pelosi, we did the math in between 2010, 12, 14, and 16, they lost 60 House seats. I think we've talked about it ad nauseum that at the state level, literally thousands of seats have gone from Democrat to Republican. Democrats don't have anything. If that's their bench, if Bernie Sanders and Nancy Pelosi are their bench, maybe even Hillary Clinton, they're in big trouble. They need new, fresh blood with new ideas.
Well, I said on the Cost of Freedom over the weekend, this is a woman who goes into the Waffle House and orders coq au vin because she's so disconnected from the American voter. But again, they keep her in the leadership because she raised, what, north of $140 million for candidates last year.
I don't know. Look, Maxine Waters over the weekend says, I'm going to have a town hall, but guess what? You can't come into my town in an attempt to keep Trump people out and Trump supporters out. You can't come into my town hall unless you live in my district. Guess who doesn't live in her own district? Maxine Waters doesn't live in her own district, so she's trying to keep people out of her district. She would have to eliminate her own person being in her own town hall. It's insane. The Democrats are in very, very dire straits right now.
Oh, Nancy Pelosi. But so throughout the campaign,
did you hear all the health care stuff over the last couple of days?
Oh, yeah, I was incensed.
Dead. You're going to kill. Yeah. What is she? Hundreds of thousands are going to die with the GOP health care plan.
The death party, the Hillary Clinton tweet about the death party.
Unbelievable. There's like 5 or 6 Al Franken saying people are going to die. What are they doing? I
think they recut the Granny off the cliff
they did.
Ad. Guess what? Granny gets Medicare. Granny's not going to be hurt by any reform of Obamacare. The woman in the dummy, literally a dummy, a mannequin in a wheelchair, gets to keep her health insurance because she's on Medicare. So can we shut it? I'm sorry to get upset, but I saw that this morning.
You're fired up.
I know. Well, speaking of fired up, draining the swamp, Trump promised to drain the swamp in many times over while he's on the campaign trail. You say he can do this in 4 steps. So let's go through the steps there.
Rather than reading the 4 steps, let me just tell you what happened with the book.
Please.
Trump is candidate Trump, and he's going to these events, and people are chanting, drain the swamp. And people had a visceral connection to Donald Trump, the candidate. And while that was going on, I said, you know, he's going to win this. So what's he really going to expect? What does he have in store for him when he gets to D.C.? And I started doing research, and it's amazing how deep and murky the swamp is. It's apparent everyone is for sale in D.C. Everything and everyone is for sale. So I started finding stories about lobbyists. There's a Roche, French pharmaceutical lobbyist who started out with a couple of $1 million in his coffers to sway votes, ended up with $50 million to sway votes year after year after year. The guy was skimming money. He was buying votes. As they started to close in on his ring, he ended up committing suicide. I mean, there are stories. There's sex in the swamp. There's fights in the swamp, spitting on each other in the swamp, and this is the D.C. swamp.
And it's all our money. It's all our money.
I don't know if you can see this. Can you see this? I hate doing this. Sorry.
So that's the Capitol Hill is actually built on a swamp?
Yes. I swear to you. So I'm looking, I write the book, I say I need a cover, and I said I literally Google 15 pages of the swamp in D.C., and I come across a National Archives photo.
It's the Potomac River Basin, I think.
It was the swamp. So they drained the literal swamp, but the metaphorical swamp just got bigger and bigger and badder and worse.
I want to ask you a question, though. Are you bothered by the fact that there are so many corporate executives in Trump's administration? And so Rex Tillerson, for example.
So one of the recommendations, off the top, was continue tweeting. I want to know what the most powerful man in the planet is thinking all the time. It's great. One of the other ones was continue rolling back regulation. But the other one was, and this gets some pushback, take the most successful people you can possibly find and put them into the administration. Because I think running the country the way you run a company is the way to go. Treat the Oval Office the way you treat a boardroom. And I think that was the refreshing new twist. And you're seeing it in the economic numbers. You guys talk about the economic numbers, off the charts on everything. Unemployment, business confidence, consumer confidence, housing prices, stock prices, all turning up. But you wouldn't know that if you watch the mainstream media. But if you watch Mornings with Maria and Dagan,
and the specialists on Fox News. By the way, Eric and I are going to be on Outnumbered together.
Yes, we
later
are.
on
It should
on
be
the
a
Fox
fiery
News
show.
channel. I can't wait.
We won't tell you why it's going to be so fiery, but it
No,
will be.
you have to trust us. It is going to be very heated, and Eric will keep his composure, and I won't.
Okay, looking forward to that.
I'll lose my mind. It was great to see you,
Thanks,
Eric.
you guys.
So again, his new book, The Swamp, Washington's Murky Pool of Corruption and Cronyism, and how Trump can drain it. Available everywhere books are sold.